The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Welcome in to Girls Talk, Boys Talk from Oxnard, California. This is our final podcast from the California portion of training camp. And for the Girls Talk, it's Briana Aldridge from CBS 11. I'm Kristi Scales, sideline reporter for the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. And the boy part of Girls Talk, Boy Talk, Jesse Holley, Mr. Fourth and Long, former Cowboys wide receiver. And Jesse and I are Twinkies today.
I'm jealous.
We are, Bree was there last night as well, but the world premiere, it was literally a Hollywood, not red carpet, but blue carpet for the Netflix series, which drops August 19th. It's going to be 8 episodes. It is America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. Jerry Jones, the entire Jones family, Michael, Emmett, Troy is featured in it, Deion Sanders as well. It's about the 90s Cowboys. And Bree, you were there along the blue carpet as everyone was coming in. Jesse and I got a chance to see the show as well. What were your thoughts? Was it your first Hollywood premiere?
It was, like you said, blue carpet. It was fun to see all the stars coming in, some of the national people you see every day.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time talking one-on-one with both Michael and Emmett, and I was just like, the way they talk, it's like everything they said was like inspiring, right? And I asked both of them the same question about, what do you hope people who, like me, really, who don't remember the Cowboys from the 90s because I was too busy being born, what it was like.
Kill us now.
What it was like. But this is who it's for. Like, he's like, both of them, they were like, it was a different time. The locker rooms were different. The game was different. And I asked both of them if their 90s team in their prime could compete with the top teams in the NFL. And both of those answered has cuss words in it, but very dominantly, yes, they can. So I'm excited to see it. This series, how it unfolds, because I think, like I said, I think this is what the world needs to see. I think it's long overdue for the Cowboys. America's team
and
to get.
It was really cool. The Egyptian Theater, Grauman's Egyptian Theater, right there on Hollywood Boulevard. Very old school, old feel kind of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we said there are 8 episodes. Now, we got to see the first 10 minutes of episode 1 and then all of episode 3, which is basically concentrating on the 1992 NFC Championship game where the upstart Cowboys go into San Francisco and defeat Steve Young, Bill Romanowski, Jerry Rice, that era, the Bill Walsh, San Francisco 49ers. But then there are great cutbacks to Jerry buying the team and his life from Arkansas. And Jesse, what were your thoughts on what you saw on screen?
Yeah, my initial thoughts were, I said to myself, damn, he's done it again. Meaning Jerry has figured out a way to do it again. And unlike Bree, I remember those times, right? And so it was something to be said that we're watching this moment and we know the outcome. We know the play, we know the score, we know how it ends. But every moment had me on the edge of my seat. And I know people, I know how social media gets, right? They will come on today and they'll say, "Oh, Jesse and Kristi and Bree, you're carrying the water for Jerry. You're being company men and women." And if you know me, there's nothing about me that ever is company. I do what I want, say what I want, how I want, and just deal with whatever the consequences are. And I was so thoroughly impressed at the cinematography, the way that they put this thing together, the way that they flash back. Like we're like the scene took place in the middle of the NFC Championship game, but you would flash back to Jerry at Arkansas. You would flash back to Jerry and his family on his ranch. You would flash back to telling the story of how, a lot of these stories that we know, but
or
to see
don't.
it,
a lot of people don't know about Jimmy Hoffa ties and
Jimmy
stuff.
Hoffa tie. And so it was cinematically, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was absolute. This is not me carrying water for the company. This is, it was, like, I left there and I was just like, I wanted to stay. I'm like, show me another one. I want to see another one. Because it was that good, that impactful.
Well, it's a masterclass in storytelling.
Yes.
And another one of our Cowboy friends from Netflix, Greg Whiteley, who was the director of the America's Sweethearts, so the cheerleader version, he was there last night and got to visit with him. But it's just the production value. It's
the Way
absolutely,
brothers, right?
Yeah. They did the ones for Jerry's,
Yes.
for the football part. Greg did the one for the cheerleaders. But the way that they can take so much information and put it all together. But here's the thing, you talk about us saying, carrying water for Jerry and the team. Hey, if you hate the Cowboys, you'll get a lot out of this too.
Yeah.
And what did you think of the show itself, Bree?
So I actually didn't see it.
Okay.
I was working the outside and doing
okay.
stuff for TV. Yeah, so I'm excited to see it. But I will say, hearing what Jesse said about kind of like that emotional appeal, that's exactly what Michael and Emmett both said. They were like, this is about us. This is about our lives. And there's things that, you're going to see that have never really been seen before. And it brought back certain emotions to them. And they lived it. So if you're saying that, they're saying that.
I was there too. I was not the sideline reporter in the 90s. I was in the radio booth, but I started in 91. You hear great play calls from Brad Sham. Everything's all mixed in. And like you say, they sit down and they interview Steve Young and Romanowski and Jerry Rice, and it's and Eddie DeBartolo is in it. So It's a masterclass, and I can't recommend it highly enough. And the great thing about Netflix is, unlike some of the other streaming services where you have a series and then there'll be an episode and you have to wait a whole week. Netflix drops it. So just plan the 19th to know that you're going to be up all night.
Yeah.
So plan accordingly.
No, it was, and to kind of put a bow on the night, being there and having Emmett in the crowd and Michael in the crowd, and Michael's someone who I have a great relationship with. It was, I look at them, and when you heard Charles Haley speak, and on the video, when you watched Troy speak, and all the people that were part of it, there was a feel like you understood that team. You understood their determination. You understood their focus and their
swagger.
Their swagger. They're just there. When Michael said that it was like, I'd rather die before I lose. And when he said it, you felt it. Like he said it in the screen, and you were like, just watching it, you're like, oh, y'all really meant that. Like, you really meant that this was, I'm willing to die before I lose to this football team. And, and we always want to compare. It's always about a comparison thing, right? Like, why is this 30-year drought and why this team doesn't? Those group of men, I'm just telling you, like, those group of men are different.
Yes.
Are different. And I know that we evolve and things change, but that group, and not only were they different, it was a talented group. Like we talk about like Alvin Harvard as like this afterthought. Like, Alvin Harvard was a first round pick. You know what I mean? Like there was a talent. Charles Haley and that offensive line with Nate Newton and Step. But like that was a talented group. And then they were coached at such a level. And I get it. Times are way different in how you can coach players and how practices and stuff go. But the way Jimmy coached those guys and the way they responded to Jimmy's coaching, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Well, it was a fun watch, and we learned a lot. And let's contrast that with Saturday at SoFi Stadium, which was not so fun to watch from a Cowboys perspective. I would say a lot of coaching points coming out of that. But, Bree, as you think about Saturday, what were a couple of the main points that you took from that 31-21 loss to the Rams?
I will say that I thought, man, film is going to be tough for this team when they go back in there. But I mean, to be fair, it's preseason, right? I think everyone is like, oh, it's just, these aren't the starters. This is all the backups or what have you. And there was some guys who are going to get a lot of playing time that were out there. But I think if anything was concerning, the Rams also had the backups out, right? So I'm looking at that as well. But I think the biggest thing to see what we all were watching is how does Joe Milton go out there and engineer this offense. The beginning of the game, I was just like, it just looked so chaotic. He just looked just not comfortable. You were hoping they would, get in some type of run game so he could get comfortable and start flinging that ball around, and that's just not what happened. Like the 3 and out, they didn't get their first touchdown until the fourth quarter. So
they had 1 total yard of offense in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And so much for establishing a run game, and they go 6 straight throws.
Yeah, so that offensively, that was, and then it just looked like, you go the other side of the ball, the run defense, same issues. It looked like to me there was a lot of double team happening to that interior defensive line for us. One-on-ones weren't being met for the edges, and it was just some of the stuff that was seen in the joint practice kind of transferred over, to be honest. So you were kind of hoping, and we talked about it, that was going to be, we know it wasn't going to be about scheme, it was going to be about individual matchups, and I just felt like, again, it went to the Rams when we're talking about who was winning majority of individual matchup. It wasn't all bad. I did see flashes from certain people, and I know we'll talk about those in a second. So there was some good things to come out of it, but yeah, a lot of the issues that we saw in the joint practice, I saw transfer over to Saturday.
And Jesse, before getting your specific thoughts from the game itself, Bree mentioned, going in and the meetings and watching film from something like that. Your perspective, because you've been one of these guys that has been battling for a roster spot and just needing every rep that you can get in a game. What's it like from that perspective? And then you go into the meeting afterwards, or the film session after those kinds of games.
First and foremost, when you're talking about from a personal perspective, is you try to do what your assignment is, right? And that's what football is. It's 11 individual assignments hoping to be done collectively at the same time. Right. So you hope first that I do what I was supposed to do, and sometimes as a receiver, I can't help if the offensive line blocked or not. I can't help if the quarterback made the right read or not, or threw the ball where we were supposed to. What I can control is if my route was supposed to be a 12-yard curl, then I go 12 yards and curl. Right? Like, is that the part that I was supposed to do? If coach watched film, did I win my individual battle? And that's why you'll hear coaches say, well, that's why they have coaches, because my wide receiver coach is looking for me to do a certain thing. My offensive coordinator is looking for me to do a certain thing. And so when they go back to evaluate film, they're looking at it as a whole, right? Because that's their job, but also individually. All right, we asked this guy to do X, Y, and Z. Did he accomplish the mission? We'll handle the rest of the stuff, but can we trust him to go out there and do that part? So for the guys in these games, it's, do your job first. And then we'll coach the rest of it to make it come together as a unit. So, you want to focus first on that. And then the team part of it all is how can I help? What's the next thing that I can do to maybe help the quarterback do that, or help the running game better? Did I get all my blocks? Was I perfect on my reads? Was there some sort of slight adjustment that I missed or made in those particular things? So you're looking for that. But, and then ultimately, you want to make a play or two. You want to go out there and make a play or two and flash and go, see, I can do this. I can make the blocks. I can make the catches. I can do these things, because ultimately that's what the coaches want to see. They want to see who can go out there and make a play. But lining up, assignment alignment, depth, splits, all those things are so vitally important. That's what they go and watch when they go and watch film. When they're looking at, all right, can we trust this guy on Sunday, right? If you can't line up right, that's a line one. Hey, break the huddle. Know where the hell to line up at. Right? If you can't do that, if I can't trust you to run 10 yards and out because the route requires you to run 10 yards and out, or if I can't trust you that, hey, this time, this route might not be for you, but if you don't run like hell on the outside to clear that side out, so we have this over route coming underneath it, and you halfway through it, and now you cluttered up that area, I can't trust you. All right? I can't trust you out there with CD. I need him to get open, but I need you to run this, we call it for the love of the game route for this particular time.
Yeah.
So those are the things that they look at going into, and you want to just make sure as an individual that you've done your job correctly and efficiently, so that they can see that, and that then yields for them to give you some more playing time and some more playing reps.
Right. And then so that's individually, from a macro level, the 6 pre-snap penalties. Yeah. And then, Bree, you talked about some of the things that looked like some of the same issues from the joint practice last week. Defensively, or everybody just not staying low, and just good leverage and pad level, which and what they say last week, keeping your eyes below the chin, right? Make sure you're staying low. Well, when we come back after this break, what I want is for Jesse, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to break down what we saw from the young wide receivers and what strides you think that they made in that game. And we'll do that right after this. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk from Oxnard, California.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
How does the cheerleaders' hair always look so perfect? We asked, and they shared one of their biggest beauty secrets. If you want hair like theirs and confidence to match, use Babyliss Pro styling tools. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders use Babyliss Pro curling irons to get those perfect game day curls. To get the hair you see on the cheerleaders, head to BabylissPro.com. Use the code Cowboys20 for 20% off Babyliss Pro tools, the official styling tools of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Get the discount while it lasts. Offer may be withdrawn at any time at advertiser's discretion.
Welcome back. Are you a Cowboys super fan? The search is on for the 2025 Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan. Now through September 29th, nominate extraordinary NFL fans, dynamic duos, and game changers who rep the Cowboys with pride and turn every game day into an unforgettable adventure. You could be sent to Super Bowl 60. Enter to win at NFL.com/Fan of the Year today.
She's Briana Aldridge. He's Jesse Holley. I'm Kristi Scales. Nicole Hutchison, a little under the weather today, but she'll be back with the next Girls Talk, Boys Talk. Aisha Morrison back in Dallas. Jess Navarez, we miss them. And everyone will be back together next week. Just 2 more days of practices here in Oxnard, California, and the Cowboys are headed home on Thursday. And Jesse, we promised going into the break that you would break down what you saw from the wide receivers in Saturday night's 31-21 loss to the Rams. What stood out to you?
Yeah, the first and foremost is like when you're watching it, and I remember playing in games where it's different from practice, right? Joe Milton and Will Greer and those guys, they have unlimited time, right? So even when they feel like they may be sacked, I still kind of finish running my route and I get a chance to catch the ball. But in the games, that doesn't necessarily happen. What I did see, my focus when I came into this game, I did want to see what Jalen Tolbert did. I did want to see what the guys who were fighting for those number 3 spots, right? Mingo, and I wanted to see Ryan Flournoy. And then the one kid who's been having a really good camp is Trayshawn Holden.
Yes.
Right? And so, but we also have to understand like what happens in practice, being able to take that and translate it to the game. And I saw a lot of good things from the receivers. Winning at the line of scrimmage, right? I talked about getting into your routes and your depth. A lot of good things of that. The problem is that when you're again from the receiver position, we're counting for so many others to do their job for us to get the ball. And one of the issues that Joe Milton has had in his career is just his inaccuracy. and you saw that on display. But there was a lot of good things, man. There was a couple double moves that were open. There was he missed a touchdown. Joe Milton missed a guy wide open for a touchdown in there. So the receivers were doing a lot of good things.
Yeah,
right?
like Flournoy, he was wide open
he had
on
wide
that
open
crosser.
on the deep over, right? And it's like that's the one that you got to just calm your noise, calm the feet, calm yourself, and just deliver it. That's a big play waiting to happen, and that's a route that when you look at this Cowboys offense is a staple in this offense. It's a staple in a lot of NFL offenses where that deep over is coming, you want to get the ball into the hand of the receivers early so he can turn up the field. So a lot of good things that I saw at the line of scrimmage, a lot of good things that I saw with getting your depth, getting there. And then, it's just unfortunate that a lot of it wasn't rewarded with, and this is no knock against Joe or Will or anybody, but that was just the nature of the beast, and it happens that way sometime in training camp. It's in preseason.
I'll tell you, I was talking with CD on the sideline before the game, and, we knew the starters weren't going to play. Jalen Tolbert and Hunter Lipke, depending on if they open in 11 or 12, they would be, starters. Those were the only two. No, Lipke didn't.
He didn't play.
He didn't play. Yeah. So Jalen Tolbert, who's your third receiver, he was the only one of the normal starters that played. But do you think that any of the young receivers did enough to separate themselves or to really notch up one or two, or just because they didn't get the ball delivered to them?
No, and here's the thing that, being a backup is more than just receiver. And this is the thing that we missed a lot of times, right? What else can you – because we consistently talk about making the 53. Well, great. Making the 53 is great. You got to make the 46 because on game day, they're only handing out 46 jerseys. Right? And so how do I get that number? And so when you start breaking it down and looking at the totality of it, well, I know I got to have 9 offensive linemen, right? 9 or 10 offensive linemen. That's by NFL rules. So those guys are getting jerseys. And now I got to have a certain amount of linebackers and defensive linemen and cornerbacks, depending on who you're playing and what the scheme is for that particular week. And you have to come down to the decision, why should I give you a game day jersey? What do you present to us? What are you giving us that requires you to have a jersey on game day? And if you just being the number 4 wide receiver, the number 5 wide receiver, that's not enough, right? And that's one of the things that when you talk about Jalen Tolbert, right, is that can you run down on kickoff? Can you run down on punt? Can you cover a punt?
And a guy like Jalen Brooks is your gunner.
Jalen Brooks, a gunner, right? So those are the type of things that you want to see in addition to you being a wide receiver.
Yeah, and that's why it was so bad from the perspective of your backup running backs and your backup defensive backs who, heck, not if you're the number 3, 4, or 5 guy, but the number 2 on the depth chart for running back is going to have to play teams, unless you're Zeke Elliott, or and especially the defensive backs. These are core guys. Yeah. So Nick Sorensen, who is the Cowboys special teams coordinator, yesterday lamented the fact that the dearth of running backs, so many injuries there, that he couldn't get an evaluation on a guy like Jaden Blue to see what he could do in terms of helping on special teams. And I don't just mean, some returns, which Jaden did at Texas, but he's having to play coverage.
Yeah,
right?
You got to be a gunner. Yeah. You got to be you got to be a wing, a personal protector. All those positions matter in these games.
Yeah, I mentioned running back. What stood out to you, Bree, in regards to that? At least Deuce Vaughn was back and got a little bit of work.
Yeah, I saw some stuff from him, and I think when we're talking about just overall, a Deuce Vaughn, a Keemon Hall, right, guys who have been here, and you kind of looking for that jazz. At the end of the day, these aren't starters out there. So I feel like they have to start to do impressive stuff in these preseason games for them to really solidify themselves on this team. The running back group, especially talking about Deuce Vaughn, I think he's been, I don't want to say disappearing, but he's got some guys on him. And I'm not going to get too carried away with on the Malik Davis train like everyone else.
It is a cool story, though.
That's an impressive, though. That's an impressive. That's an impressive thing to do.
Kudos to him. He could have pouted after getting released by the Cowboys in April.
Was it was it 2 days prior to the game?
Well, he showed up on Friday morning, gets signed and
suited up and
practices a bit on Friday, and then is leads the team with 63
as
rushing yards
as they
Saturday.
say in Texas, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right? Like, yeah,
So you may not be on the train with Malik, but
I was like,
your overall thoughts on running back, though?
Yeah, Phil Maffa, obviously, he had some flashes. Definitely, the guys, this is what, it's a little cliche, but they came in and they took advantage of the opportunities, right? You have a Miles Sanders who's down right now. You're not going to put a Javonte Williams down in a group that's already limping when they're going in. So I felt like those guys went in there, had some good moments. Deuce Vaughn, I wish I would have saw a little bit more of that, that from him, if you will, because I just think he's got some competition coming real close underneath him. So it's going to be very much like the wide receiver position. I said last week if Jalen Tolbert was out there, I feel like that would tell us a lot of what the coaches are, how close that competition actually is. So I was surprised to see Jalen Tolbert out there as much as we did. And then Trayshawn Holden is one of the camp favorites. He goes in the second half, and Brian Schottenheimer after the game literally said that he earned himself to get in there to move up in the depth chart. We're talking about the preseason game and how he's moving up. So I thought that was something eye-opening, even though, like Jesse said, this doesn't mean he's solidified in a certain spot, but I think he's catching attention and he's being consistent. Something else that Schottenheimer has said, he can't just have a wide receiver who has one good day or, 2 days out of the week. He needs someone who's coming here and being consistent, and I think that's something that Holden specifically is showing. So now let's see with the running back. I mean, we got 2 more preseason games, right? We know who's not going to be on the field. Yeah. So interested to see who's.
Ooh, well, now let me ask this: did what we saw on Saturday, Jesse, change your mind, or have you predict if we see the starters in any series these last 2 games?
Starters? When you say starters,
I mean Dak. I mean Dak and CD and George and Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe.
Some of those, right? Like some of those. But if I'm being totally honest, and Kristi, you've been here long enough to know this, is that some of those decisions don't necessarily always lie in the hands of Brian Schottenheimer. When you're talking about guys like Dak Prescott, when you're talking about guys like CeeDee Lamb, right? Those guys who the
Hey, CD can't even stay healthy when he's not in the game. Getting freaking trucked by the side judge.
So I do think after seeing that game, and Coach Schotty is one who, I'm not saying that he has rabbit ears, but he hears,
sure,
right? Like he is very, very aware of what people are saying.
Yeah.
And I think having that many guys last week not play in the preseason game, especially when we're talking about guys like Tyler Booker, right? Like Sam Williams, Kevontae Turpin. Like there's certain level guys you go, what?
I was shocked when Booker walked out and didn't have his pads.
I'm like, hold on now. I'm like, what world do we live in now where a healthy rookie gets to not play in preseason games? I'm from the school where the rookies go out there and you don't come out until you throw up. Like that's how many reps that you get. Like that's how it goes. Like what have you done? You've done nothing to stand next to Tyler Smith on the sideline in a preseason game 1. You've done nothing to stand next to Dak Prescott in preseason game number 1. You should be out there. So I think from that perspective, you're going to see Schotty kind of take a different approach to it this go around, and you'll see a lot of those guys out there. CD, Dak, maybe not, though I would like to see those guys out there for
just a series or two.
Because to play football is to get better at it. Like you want to get better at it, the reps to come together in those situations. So, but I get it. Jerry's talked about it. Like, I don't want to pay these guys all this money and they get hurt. So I get that part. But I think we're going to see a much larger contingency of players playing this week against the Philadelphia. That's a couple weeks away. Against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm already game ready. I'm like, let's get to week 1.
Hey, before we take our break, because I want to talk defense coming out of the next break, but Jesse, do you have Joe Milton taking all the snaps the rest of the way, or do you see Will Greer getting a little more?
We went down this road a little bit with Cooper Rush and the Trey Lance situation, right? And I get that they have to evaluate, but Cooper Rush even said, he goes, I know that we were evaluating Trey, but I needed some of those reps. I needed some of that preseason to get myself, the rust off myself and get myself together. I think that you're going to still see a lot more of Joe in this game. But I do think Will come in before the fourth quarter. I do think you'll see. Okay. I think you'll see Wilt earlier.
Okay. Yes.
I
would agree.
Than what we saw last week.
Yeah. In the locker room after the game, after that nice touchdown run, I'm like, ooh, Lamar Jackson out there. I didn't know he was playing in this game. He just rolled his eyes like, I don't think so. I'm like, hey, they all count the same amount of points for a touchdown. All right. When we come back, we're going to break down the Cowboys' defense from their effort in the preseason opener at the Rams. This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, live from Oxnard, California.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How does the cheerleader's hair always look so perfect? We asked, and they shared one of their biggest beauty secrets. If you want hair like theirs and confidence to match, use Babyliss Pro styling tools. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders use Babyliss Pro curling irons to get those perfect game day curls. To get the hair you see on the cheerleaders, head to BabylissPro.com. Use the code Cowboys20 for 20% off Babyliss Pro tools, the official styling tools of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Get the discount while it lasts. Offer may be withdrawn at any time at advertiser's discretion.
Good morning, Cowboys Nation. The 2025 Dallas Cowboys schedule is officially here and limited tickets are available right now. Get ready to bring the noise as you watch your Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium when they host NFC East rivals Eagles, Giants, and Commanders, plus the Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, and Cardinals. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official primary ticketing partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
She's Briana Aldridge. He's Jesse Holley. I'm Kristi Scales. And in this final segment for Girls Talk, Boys Talk, this will be our last podcast for Girls Talk, Boys Talk from Oxnard. We want to focus on the defense. Mm-hmm. And Bri, I'll start with you, whether you want to start with a highlight or a low light, impressions of the defense in their first preseason game action.
I'll start with the positive.
Okay.
I'll start there. I think if there was a game ball perhaps to be given out, I would probably give it to Maris Leofau. I just think going into his second year, he's doing everything you want to see. That man was flashing everything. He looked like his just football IQ has just gone up. He's just playing the gaps well, not overthinking. I saw like a few things here and there, but I think overall, everybody just wanted him to get out and protect him and put him in bubble wrap. We're trying to figure out why he was out there as long as he was. But I'm very excited to see what he's doing. Some of the other linebackers, though, I think struggled.
Bri, can I just put a little bit added to that, to the Maris Leofau thing?
Of course.
I got a chance to talk to Maris, and I think you were standing right there with me when we were talking to Maris at the girls' flag football game.
Yep.
And the thing that he talked about being in this offense, he said, this feels like how I played in college. So he says, I feel so much more comfortable. It's a lot less thinking for me. And that's not me saying that he feels like he can't figure this stuff out. He went to Notre Dame. It's pretty,
Very
listen,
bright.
Notre Dame recruited me till they came in and saw my transcript and they was like, you know what? You might not be cut out for us academically, Holley. But Maris talked about, he said, you know, under Matt Eberflus in this defense, I am more free flowing. My mind is at ease. I can play fast. And so to your point, you're seeing Maris Leofau go out there and play, no pun intended, like his hair is on fire because the way he wears his hair. But he's playing fast. He's playing free. And, you know, he spoke about that to me month, 2 months ago.
Yeah, and this is the reason why I love Maris. You talk about at the girls' flag football event. So that was the game Saturday night. He was one of the highlights for the Cowboys. We got back. That was a 4:00 kickoff Pacific time out here in California. We got back on the team buses. We were back here in Oxnard about 9:45. The next morning at 8 a.m., Maris Leofau and Buddy Johnson, fellow linebacker, were out here for a kids flag football event that Whitney Faulkner and Danny McCray and put on out here. So they got up after a long day, and those two guys played a lot on Saturday. But that speaks to the kind of people that they are. So while teammates might have been sleeping in, or maybe had some fun after getting back to Oxnard, that's Maris Leofau. Yeah. And the other, one more Maris Leofau story. We did a deal. This was last year as a rookie. The rookie group came in, and it was at the Ford Center, the indoor practice field at the Star in Frisco. And it was for a local elementary school, and it was for integrating the special needs kids with their classmates and kind of PE activities. So there was like throwing the football, and there was running, and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders were there, and there was one for dancing. And Maris, each rookie was assigned to a different thing. And Maris is over there with the cheerleaders, and bless his heart, he's over there dancing. And once those it was boys and girls, little kids, elementary school. Once those boys saw that the Cowboy linebacker Maris Leofau was dancing, they danced too. So that's just the good person that he is. So I know we got off on a Maris Leofau tangent there, but
we love Maris.
So that was a highlight, but
definitely
not everything was a highlight.
No. I guess I'll start with the cornerbacks. I think, again, that's been a question mark that we've been talking about. The first half was Andrew Booth, Zion Childress, and I didn't see a lot of positives. I just feel like the Rams kind of were able to do whatever they wanted, basically. But a lot of that also starts up front. I saw a lot of double teams happening with our interior linemen. Over half the reps looked like it was, going toward the Rams. I saw some Donovan Ezeraku. I saw him win some battles on the edge, but lose some battles. So we said we were going to keep an eye. Exactly. That's what you expect at this point. So some good, some bad there. I noted Perion Winfrey was someone I felt like he also didn't win all his one-on-ones, but I felt like his energy I liked from him.
He flashed a couple times.
Yeah, I feel like there was some good things there. I think I have just nickel spot question mark that was on my note. I think that's one of what they're looking at right now. I don't think they have an answer for that.
I think the
moment.
whole secondary, Keemon Hall. I thought Childress did some okay things. I really did, but the defensive back situation, Jesse, and Robert Rochelle going down early in that game with a hamstring. That was actually the first series, and he was going to get a very long look. So that was very disappointing. But what did you think of the secondary play?
Not good. Not good. When you think about the way that the Rams marched up and down the football field, right? Both running and passing the ball. And, they had receivers wide open. And we're not talking about this being Puka Nacua. We're not talking about this being Devontae Adams. We're talking about this is their backups too.
Yeah.
And the difference is that the guys that we're watching and evaluating, the way our injury situation is happening right now with the cornerback position, these are guys who are potentially going to be out there. Thursday night against Philadelphia, and you think about, I know Deron Bland will be out there, but Deron Bland can't cover A.J. Brown and can't cover Devontae Smith at the same time. And so you look at that and you're saying, man, we have a lot of questions. And the biggest thing that comes out of these games is we enter training camp with these questions about cornerback, about defensive linemen, about offensive linemen. And we've yet to get a positive answer to these questions.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and there are two more practices after today.
Right.
Scary stuff.
We're heading back. We're headed back to Frisco at the end of this week, and the question marks, as you said in your notes, I got a big question mark on nickel.
Literally.
The question still remains: are there going to be a good enough group of guys to march out there for week one of the season? I know it's a long season, but this is a group that's that we don't have answers for. We don't know when Rebel's going to be back. We don't know when Diggs is going to be back, right? They have one timeline. They say one thing. A guy has a setback. They have another timeline, and then it moves again. So it is a huge question, and these guys didn't leave any coaches with the level of confidence that, leaving that game, they felt better about the position.
Yeah. Let me add one more question in there for you then. Do you think that the third, fourth, or fifth cornerback, as it would lay out on the depth chart for the opener September, is in Cowboys camp right now? Or do you think that he's on another roster and Cowboys are maybe going to pick him off? I don't necessarily mean with a trade. I mean they're going to be scouring that waiver wire, and my guess would be making claims of defensive back, O-line. That's how it works in the league. We talked about it last week. You are auditioning in these preseason games not just for your team, but for 31 other teams in the league.
Exactly.
I agree with you. They're not on this roster. One of the cornerbacks that we will probably march out with week 1 is currently not in Oxnard, California. Okay. I believe that.
Okay. Let me ask you for your positives, Jesse. We talked about Marist a little bit earlier. Were there some other young guys or a position group that you thought, okay, it's a little bit better than I thought?
You mentioned them. Zion Childress, he popped out. And a friend of mine, a coworker of mine, Jeff Kavanaugh, we were watching the game together, and we kind of both looked at each other sometimes. We was like, 48. Right, because the number sticks out. Right, as a player, it sticks out.
It's like when did Moose Johnston become a corner?
I'm like 48 making plays. Ill. Yeah. I'm like, what an ill number. But it stood out because of the number. I was like stank number, but I was looking. I was like, you know what? This guy is showing up. So I think a guy like Zion Childress could possibly earn himself some more opportunities during practice. To go back to the offensive side. And I'm stealing this from Jeff as well because we talk a lot of it, but he talked about Nate Thomas. Nate Thomas having some flashes.
Left tackle, started at left tackle,
right? Yeah. And he was just talking about, he's like, man, because again, you're evaluating technique, you're evaluating, how does this guy get off the line, how is he holding it down? And Nate had played about 10 snaps, and we talked about that, and he was like, you know what, Nate Thomas is a guy that, if Tyler Guyton doesn't get himself back soon enough. You get Wally pipped around here, because guys are trying to find those positions to start. But then I enjoyed watching Phil Maffa. I enjoyed watching Phil Maffa. I thought his pads were high. Coach talked about that.
Yeah.
But
you don't want your pads high when you're a running back. Really, anybody. You got to stay low because everybody else, they'll get their pads under you and you're going down.
You're gonna get
Doesn't matter
dumped
how
up.
strong you are. If you don't have the leverage, you're going down.
But looking at Phil, like he had some juice, he had some burst. And I like the size of Phil. Like when you look at him, like he fits his uniform good. Like he fills it out good.
He's on the all-airport team.
He's like,
his milk.
You want him to get off the bus first. When you pull up, like, hey, you get off the bus first. You, Tyler Smith, couple y'all get off the bus first. We're going to intimidation.
Sure.
But he had some juice. He had some good vision. Again, want to keep his pads down a little bit more. But the way that he was running the football, I was like, I'm not opposed to seeing a little bit more of what Phil Maffa can do. He piqued my interest. I'm not saying that he's going to be the guy, but Phil coming out of that preseason game piqued my interest, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of that physical style running against a physical style team in the Baltimore Ravens this upcoming week.
I like the way you say pique my interest because we have just a couple minutes left here. Again, this is our final podcast for Girls Talk, Boys Talk from out here in Oxnard. We arrived on July 20th, so it's full 26 days by the time we pull up stakes and head back on Thursday. So of what you've seen of all of these practices, of the first preseason game, what has piqued your interest the most? And it doesn't have to be positive. I mean, it may be maybe like, it may have caught your attention in a not so good way. But Bree, what has really stood out for you this camp? And it could be a player or a position group or whatever.
I think, honestly, what I was hoping to see and I didn't see was Kyer Elam. Like, that is someone who's been shining at camp. It's someone who I've covered previously. I had a quick conversation with someone who's worked with him in Buffalo, and when I'm telling him he didn't play in the preseason game, he was like shocked because he's like, are they that certain that he's that guy? Because he wasn't. It's just not it's night and day from what was happening in Buffalo. So I'm hoping that he's on the list next to Tyler Booker, and seeing like even 10 snaps for Nate Thomas. I was hoping to see some more of him. So I'm hoping that we see some Kyle Elam because I've seen this story before, and then I've seen it not transfer in games. Like super rooting for this guy, super great human. He was always one of the last ones to leave practice when he wasn't getting that playing time. But I just think with the biggest question mark, one of the biggest question marks, the cornerback room, and not seeing how he's meshing, I don't want to see what he looks like week 1 in Philly. Yeah. Like he's not a proven guy yet.
Yeah, well, Bill Parcells would always say confidence comes from demonstrated ability. Mm-hmm. And have there been some good practices? Yes, but it's not game action. So
that's what I'm looking for preseason game 2. I'm hoping Schottenheimer is going to give us some more looks at some other people that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Jesse?
Kristi, I came into this training camp, and I'm not to be a pessimist, looking for answers. I came in wanting, you don't tell me about CD, right? I know CD. He's going to be fine, right? Like, don't tell me about certain guys. I know what they're going to be. But I came into this training camp with so many questions about what is this football team going to be? What is the identity? How is this? Shadi's talked so much about this culture. How are we going to change the culture and this culture change? And as we're on the brink of breaking camp and heading back to Oxnard, none of those questions for me have been answered. You watch the first preseason game, you watch the joint practices, and the same things are still a thorn in the Cowboys' side. The lack of physicalness up front, offensively and defensively. We watched that game, 11 penalties. This team for the last couple of years have been just utterly ridiculous when it comes to discipline and penalties in the game. The first time you get a chance to go out there, 11 penalties? Mm-hmm. 11 penalties, and one from your star receiver who doesn't understand about being in the white. I get it, it was a mistake, but it's the small things. Those are the determining factors of a team winning a game and losing a game, right? You had, you go down and Phil Maffa, 2 really good runs in the red zone, but negated because your left tackle can't get up on the line of scrimmage after being told one time you line back up and you're off the ball again, and now you get another pin. So those type of things, I'm surprised. Surprised and my interest is that we haven't gotten answers. Yeah. We haven't gotten answers, and for a team that we're looking at talking about having one of the toughest schedules in the season, in the schedule in the NFL this year, they haven't shown anything that makes me believe that they're ready to take that on and be successful.
Yeah, I mean, the 11 penalties, 6 of them were pre-snap, as you mentioned, with some of the...
And that's
not lining up correctly.
Not lining up right. Again, to steal a Jason Garrett term, line number 1, he said line number 1, protect the ball, but line number 1, learn what to line up at. Yeah. Learn how to line up. If you can't do that, then we can't play football.
Alignment, assignment, execution.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll see some starting Saturday with the preseason home opener against Baltimore. We thank everyone for watching and listening to these podcasts over the last 3.5 weeks here from Oxnard. Girls Talk, Boys Talk will be back next week, and it'll be from the comfy confines of the studio there at the Star. Jesse, thank you so much for hopping in.
Thank
the
you.
Boy of our Girls Talk, Boy Talk. Bree, thank you so much. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week from Frisco.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!